On today's Fixing Bugs and Stuff, we're going to work on the rear quarter panel. Okay, so we're working in the rear quarter panel. This is on the passenger side. So what I've already started is to cut out some of the rot that was there, some of the rust. I got majority of it off. The rest of it's pretty good metal. So you don't want to cut off all the metal, just the bad stuff. So the reason being is because you want to have some kind of template to work with, especially this. If you look below here, this is not bad either. All this is intact. It's pretty good metal. Let me see if I can show you on the inside of it. See on the inside here, what you're seeing is this slightly rusted, but it's not rusted through. It's just surface rust. It's not really that bad. So first things first, we need to clean up these jagged edges. They're a little bent from me taking out the cross member before, and there is a video on that, me taking out the cross member, if you want to check that out. And let's get a closer look here. You can see somebody painted over the existing paint. That's a huge no-no, but this was a ruby red car. And so my plan is kind of, as you can see, I'm just picking at it, it's just falling apart. This is what happens when you don't strip a car properly and use primer, because the paint will come right off. And I just did that with my nails. Now I'm gonna mark it, and hopefully like at a 90-degree angle, sharp edges. And then once I mark it, then I'll cut it. Okay, that'll be next. Okay, so what I'm gonna be using is a 90-degree square here. And I'm gonna come off these jagged edges about 1/8. And I'm sticking this on the bottom ledge here of this quarter panel, this little lip, sticking on the edge. I'm going up about 4.5 inches. And what I'll do is I will mark, I'm coming off about 1/8 inch off this bottom piece here, 1/8 inch to about 1/4 of an inch. I'm going to mark straight up, going up about 4.5 inches. I'm going to go across. Here. About a 90-degree here. I'm going to cut. And then I'm going to go this way slightly if I can. Continue the line over this bevel piece here. Doesn't have to be perfect. That you just don't want the radius and all. You want to cut it as sharp as you can. I'm gonna go, let's see, over here. Continue the line. And then if I bring you guys over here, right about here, if you see this metal here, this metal has been bent backwards. It was just to clear out that cross member, but it's supposed to be 90 degrees going that way. So I'm gonna bend that back. Going to continue with our line. And I'm going to stop the line about where this circle is. And this is one of the spot welds I cut out. So I'm gonna stop it about here. I'm just gonna mark it. I'll continue to mark here. Over. can see that. And stop it right about here. The crazy thing is there's a bunch of, what do you call it? Seam sealer that's like caked in here. Now, it doesn't hurt to have it in there, but it's just annoying. So if I go to weld, it's just gonna burn a little bit. And I mean, I pulled a lot of it out, but again, somebody was happy with the seam sealer and just shot up into this little cavity here. And it's all filled with that. It'll take me forever to get it out. So I'm not really too concerned about it. There's no seams here. I don't know. Anyway, now we gotta go on to the cut. This is the new panel. It's a little scratch from moving around. Not too bad. But this is the area that I need. This area here. So, what I'm gonna do is prep it. And what I mean by prepping it is that these two nuts, this is right there, these guys here, they usually are not in the proper place. So I end up cutting them out or taking them off anyway, and then sealing up the holes, and then re-drilling the holes. Once I get the fender on, then I mark the fender, I mark this panel using the fender, and then re-drill the holes, and then put these nuts back in, these weld nuts back in. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take these nuts off first, and since it's hard to see, but these things are not really welded in there. They're meant, it's terrible. I don't know why they don't do a better job welding these things. But if you ever get a panel, I would definitely test these nuts out to make sure that they're in there. So let me show you. Let me put this down and I'll show you what I mean. Okay, I just want to show you real quick. This is the weld nut that was there. And as you can see, it's hardly any weld on it, and it just popped right out. So definitely test, or if you want to, just as a precaution, just weld them in a little bit more if you want to. But I'm taking them out because these holes do not line up on the fender anyway. And what I'll do is I'll fill these holes in. That'll be the next step. But let me take the other one out too. Okay, so to get these weld nuts out, you can see it. I threaded or put this screw in here. You don't have to screw it in all the way. You can see it here. Kind of sits in here like that. That's the one I'm trying to get out. So I'll put this on my lap and just bang on it for a little bit. Trust me, they're not in there very good. You're not gonna damage your body or your lap. So you can see here, as I showed you before, that this was in here now. So not much weld. Not much weld in that guy. Spot weld. So I could do better than that. Alright, so since we got those out, next step would be to kind of fill this in. And to fill that I need to prep it. So I may cut some, I kind of don't want to plug weld it. I don't want to do that at all, really. I actually want to make some metal and then put them in and then weld it. It's a little bit stronger that way. So let me do that next. Okay, at this point, I made these little tabs. You can see little circle tabs. There's one in there already. These tiny little guys, I made them up to fill in this hole. I used leftover panel that I had before. And just to show you, I did do the driver's side here. You can see it. Already put that panel in already, and that came out pretty good. No issues there. As you can see, I didn't take out the holes. I'm sorry, I didn't take out the weld nuts yet and fill the holes in. That's the next thing I got to do. The same thing I'm going to show you here. I don't know why I didn't do that earlier on this panel. I just wasn't thinking at the time. So, but this guy definitely, we're going to fill these holes in with a little bit of metal and weld it. So that'll be next. So before we get started cutting new panel, just to show you, I did fix this area here. I added those plates, those little tiny plates. Came out pretty good. Confident in that. And so therefore, I'm going to measure this out. Now before on the channel, I'm sorry, the rear panel here, we went up 4.5 inches and then we cut at 90 degrees as best we could. In this case, I'm going to go up a little bit more, probably 1/8. I'll go up 4 5/8, and I'll go straight across here and cut it that way. That way I have plenty of material. But always measure, cut once. That's the rule of thumb. So let me measure that out now, and I'll show you in a second. I'm going to measure here. This corner here, it's about 13 3/4, a little under that. What I'll do is I'll cut it to 13 on the new panel. Gives me about 3/4 to play with. So if you look at the new panel, I'm gonna measure from this corner too over so I can see where I need to make my mark. About 13, right about here. Then I'll take my straight edge and I'll go straight up. I'll go straight up with the straight edge. At this point, I trimmed up the sheet metal here, and I got it close to where it can fit. You can see it here. That's how it's going to go in the car, looking at the passenger side. But as you look at it this way, you can see this side here seems a little off, like your fender doesn't go in like that. So with these aftermarket panels, you really got to work with them. So what I've done in the past, what I'm going to do here, is I'm going to do a cut along this edge here. That way I can bend this to wherever I need to without impeding on this. This is going to get welded at a different stage. So let me do that now. Let me cut that piece and I'll show you what I'm up to. Okay, after I cut that piece, you can see it there. It lines up pretty well with the body. There's no issues. And I'm pulling back on the fender here just to show you how it all fits. Now I'm gonna go on the other side. You can see it just needs to be aligned and welded a little bit, just a little bit of finagling. It'll go in there just fine. Oops. Just follow the contour down, goes all the way down. No problems, right? Okay, that being said, the fender does not really line up with this edge here. It's really off. So that's gonna need some work. You can't just throw a bolt to the side like that. It's not gonna work. So that needs some fixing, but no problem. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take the fender off. We're gonna tack weld this piece in, line it up and tack weld it in. And then we'll start bending some sheet metal. Okay, at this point I welded on that piece we talked about. Still need to add this piece here, which is no big deal. But as you can see, it's no problems welding it in. Looks pretty good. Overall, it's just nice and straight. So this will be the next piece that goes on here. But before that, I'm going to bend this back, actually bend it towards this direction, because I want to make sure that the fender gets captured properly. As you can see, it goes this way, and it starts to cave in that way. So that's what I'm going to do now. Okay, so I was able to put the fender on. I bent this back a little bit, so now it's gonna work. I started to mark the holes where to put the weld nuts, but I'm not gonna do that just yet. What I'm gonna work on next is getting this piece on here. This is what I cut earlier off this piece, this large piece. It fits in there pretty good. It just needs some work. You can see there's a gap there. It sticks out. Doesn't need to be. So I'm gonna straighten this out, and then I'm gonna fit it up, cut it, and then weld it in. My recommendation is if you can get a hammer set. I ended up getting this from Harbor Freight. It's not the greatest, but it's better than having nothing. I think I paid 50 bucks for it. It comes with a lot. Comes like with 3 hammers and like 4 or 5 dies. So it works pretty well. So that's what I was able to bend this with. And so right now I'm going to tack it here and then take the magnets off and kind of bend it and shape it the way I want. And I will show you the results. Okay, that is it for the rear quarter panel here. I was able to weld it and knock off the weld beads and kind of clean it up a little bit. I got a little bit more cleaning up to do, but it all came out pretty good. What you're seeing here is just some of the paint left over, so it looks like it's a crack, but it's not. Anyway, if you guys have any questions, please hit me up with any questions or comments. And again, please like, subscribe, and comment if you can. And thanks for watching.